Imagine this moment. A man stands in handcuffs inside a United States federal courtroom and looks straight at the judge saying, "I am still the president of Venezuela." What you're about to hear is a real story that has shaken global politics. Handcuffs, a U.S. courtroom, and one shocking sentence. "I am still the president." This is not a movie. This is real. And it just shocked the world. New York City, a United States federal courtroom, a place where drug lords, criminals, and fugitives are usually brought to face justice. But today, the man standing before the judge was not an ordinary accused. It was Nicolás Maduro, the man who still calls himself the president of Venezuela. The courtroom moment. As the courtroom doors opened, everyone inside froze for a second. Maduro walked in handcuffs. No presidential convoy, no diplomatic immunity, no respect of power, just federal marshals, and a man accused of some of the most serious crimes in the world. Cameras captured everything. His steps were unsteady. His face looked tense. The image quickly went viral across the globe. Judge's question, the shocking answer. The judge began with routine questions. "State your name for the record." Maduro lifted his head and said, "My name is Nicolás Maduro, and I am still the president of Venezuela." The courtroom fell silent. Then came his most explosive claim. "I was not arrested. I was kidnapped." According to Maduro, he was forcibly taken to the United States under the orders of former U.S. President Donald Trump. The charges against him. U.S. prosecutors presented their case. They accused Maduro of drug trafficking, narco-terrorism, running international criminal networks, conspiring with drug cartels to harm the United States. The prosecution argued that Maduro used political power to protect criminal organizations and turn Venezuela into a transit hub for drugs. They called him a key figure in a global crime operation. Maduro's defense. Maduro rejected every single charge. Standing in court, he said, "I am innocent. I am a decent man. This is not justice. This is politics." His lawyers argued that the U.S. court has no legal authority over a sitting president. His capture violated international law. This case is politically motivated, not criminal. Maduro officially entered a plea of not guilty. Global reaction. As news spread, the world reacted instantly. In Venezuela, supporters called it an illegal abduction. Protesters demanded international intervention. Across the globe, legal experts questioned whether a head of state can be arrested this way. Diplomats warned of dangerous precedents. One question echoed everywhere. If a president can be brought to court like this, who is truly safe? What happens next? The judge scheduled further hearings. Maduro was placed in U.S. federal custody. For now, the man who once ruled a nation will wait behind prison walls for his next court appearance. A leader, reduced to an accused. Closing line of the story without CTA. Once powerful enough to command an entire country. Today, Nicolás Maduro stood in silence inside a U.S. courtroom and declared, "I am still the president." The fall of a president, from palace to prison. New York City, a federal courtroom under heavy security. Inside, silence hangs thick in the air. Standing there is a man in handcuffs, guarded by U.S. Marshals. Not a cartel boss, not a terrorist leader, but a man who ruled a nation for years. Nicolás Maduro. And before anyone else speaks, he delivers a sentence that shocks the world. "I am still the president of Venezuela." To understand how a sitting president reached this moment, we must go back to the operation that changed everything. The secret operation. For years, Nicolás Maduro was on the radar of U.S. intelligence agencies. American investigators accused him of protecting international drug cartels, allowing Venezuela to become a major drug transit route, using political power to shield criminal networks. Behind closed doors, U.S. officials called it one of the most sensitive cases in modern history. But arresting a head of state is not simple. There could be international backlash, diplomatic collapse, even military escalation. So the plan had to be quiet, precise, and fast. The moment he was taken, according to U.S. officials, the opportunity came when Maduro was traveling under heavy secrecy. Late at night, no public announcement, limited security. What followed was a rapid extraction operation. Special teams moved in before his inner circle could react. Communication lines were cut, routes were secured. Within minutes, the man who once controlled an entire nation was under U.S. custody. Maduro later claimed, "I was kidnapped." His supporters echoed the same word, but U.S. authorities called it a lawful international enforcement action. The world would soon be divided over that definition. From power to prison transport. No cameras, no press, no official statement for hours. Maduro was placed on a secured aircraft, No presidential seat, no flags, just restraints and silence. As the plane crossed borders, history was being rewritten. For the first time in decades, a leader accused of narco-terrorism was being brought directly into the U.S. justice system. Arrival in the United States. When the aircraft landed, security forces were already waiting. Maduro was transferred immediately to a federal holding facility. There were no speeches, no negotiations, only paperwork, fingerprints, and court documents. The man who once spoke to crowds of thousands now spoke only to lawyers. The charges explained. U.S. prosecutors accused Maduro of leading what they described as a state-backed criminal enterprise. According to the indictment, drug shipments moved through Venezuela with government protection. Profits funded illegal operations. Enemies were silenced using fear and force. The prosecution claimed this was not corruption, but organized crime at the highest level. The courtroom appearance. When Maduro was finally brought to court, the moment was historic. Cameras rolled. Journalists watched closely. He entered slowly, handcuffed, surrounded. No one spoke. Then came the judge's question. State your name. And Maduro responded, Nicolás Maduro. I am still the president of Venezuela. Gasps were heard across the room. The kidnapping claim. Maduro did not stay silent. He accused the United States directly. This is not an arrest. This is kidnapping, a political operation ordered by Donald Trump. His lawyers supported the claim, arguing, the U.S. has no jurisdiction. International law was violated. The case is politically motivated. They described the operation as an attack on national sovereignty. The prosecution's response. American prosecutors responded firmly. They stated, no one is above the law. Criminal charges override political titles. The evidence will speak for itself. They emphasized, power does not erase accountability. Global shockwaves. The world reacted instantly. In Venezuela, protests erupted. Supporters called Maduro a victim. Opponents called it long-awaited justice. Across the globe, legal experts debated the legality. Governments issued cautious statements. Analysts warned of dangerous precedents. The question remained, is this justice or global power politics? Life in custody. Maduro was transferred to federal detention. No palace, no loyal guards, no applause, just concrete walls and legal uncertainty. For the first time in years, his future was not decided by power, but by law. What comes next? The court scheduled further hearings. Evidence will be examined. Witnesses may testify. If convicted, the consequences could redefine international law. If acquitted, it would shake the credibility of global justice systems. Either way, history has already been made. Final reflection. Story ending. Once surrounded by power, protected by authority, and feared by many, Nicolás Maduro now stands alone, inside a courtroom, thousands of miles from home, handcuffed, accused, and still repeating one line, I am still the president.